one more time and had requested some information and asked that this be tabled until September. We didn't receive that information from the township until we sent out the notices. So there's a little mix-up between the petitioner and the township. So we didn't want to waste anybody's time. We apologize for that, Mr. Clark, but we are requesting to table this until September. In addition, we did hear from some neighbors in regard to some questions that they might have about the property and possibly a shared well, and it would allow staff to gather that information as well. Thank you.
They're tabling it.
What's your second question, Mark?
Well, the second question is the county board doesn't usually listen to the township anyway, so why wouldn't we just go ahead and, I mean, it's obviously one thing they look at, but I know they don't really care whether the township approves or doesn't approve, so does it really matter if we have their approval or not to go forward?
Council, are you,
Go ahead.
do you have an answer?
I believe that a petition packet isn't complete without a township acknowledgement form.
That's what I remember.
That answer your question, Mark?
I guess, yep, thank you.
Okay. There, I see a phone symbol for Gary Kastner. How do I get it so he can talk?
I can hear you. Can I speak now?
I guess.
We made a presentation to the town of Dresbach back in March. At that point in time, we didn't, there weren't any questions that came up at that meeting. We assumed that everything was fine. And then after the fact, we found out that there were some questions, so they didn't forward the information to the county. What we're hoping to do here is trying to get a conditional use, or not a conditional use, but try to get approval based on a approved certificate from the township. What this would do is save us a month of construction time. That's what it amounts to. We're going in front of their meeting again on September 2nd. And if we could get approval there, if we get approval there, and we could forward that to you, we wouldn't have to wait till the end of September then in order to get our permits. So what we're trying to do is save, 3 weeks worth of construction time.
I understand. But it's
Quite the echo.
what's that?
It's quite the echo.
Yeah, I know it's reverberating here too. I believe that without the signed acknowledgement form, we aren't supposed to be able to do anything but consider a tabling, Gary.
So I guess all I was trying to do is save 3 weeks worth of time, so we don't have to come back to you again.
But, I'm afraid that it's a little late to go about it that way right now.
Well, I'm wondering if, I see that the petitioner and his representative are both on the line, both present here at our meeting. So apparently the petitioner is not on the same page as the planning department with respect to, I'm understanding the petitioner really does not want to wait with this. So if that's the case and it's on our agenda, can't we move forward with a contingency of that there needs to be a township approval? And I also, I guess I need to have a little bit of a rebuttal to Mark Clark. I'm on the county board and I definitely do care what the townships have to say. I can't say that is completely disregarded by the board.
I guess all we're asking for is a contingent approval based on township's recommendation.
Okay, does every member of the planning commission understand what we're talking about here?
I guess.
Yes.
This
is Vince.
I
Kelly,
would like,
Kelly,
I'd like to make a motion that we table it as per staff recommendations. It sounds to me that there may be more issues than just the township approval. There might be a well issue as well. So I'd like to go with the staff recommendation and table it until the next meeting. That's a motion.
This is Mark
May-
Clark.
Mark, go ahead.
I will second that motion, and I have a question. Does this reset the 60-day clock then, or is this included in the 60-day clock?
Council?
This would be included in the 60-day clock unless and until the planning department issues a letter that we're extending it to the appropriate county board meeting. So if the county board meeting at which this would be heard after the September planning commission meeting is outside the 60 days, then they would send a letter extending it just that far in order to make sure we're not in violation of any of our timelines.
Okay, now we have a motion to table this docket number 1 by Kelly, seconded by Mark. Is there any further discussion on this motion?
Hey,
This is Vince. I
agree
we should table it. Primarily, the issue of the well dispute or whatever about the well, we should have all parties here present in fairness to everybody when we make any decisions.
Well, Vince, if you can make a virtual meeting, have everybody present, you're doing pretty darn good. All right, anybody else have anything to say?
I guess I'd like to hear from the,
Whoop,
I'd like to hear from the petitioner. And they're the ones paying for the application and the process. This is what they want us to do, or whether they want us to try to proceed potentially without all the information, and that it might be more likely to not be approved without all the approvals in place. I feel like I want to hear what the petitioner has to say.
Okay, can you get the petitioner on?
Well, this is Gary Kastner representing the petitioner.
Well, I don't think that's what Commissioner Jacobs wants. He wants the petitioner.
Well, I'm not sure he's on.
He
I
is
see his name.
on, but I can't unmute him.
Can you hear me?
Mr. Lawler?
Yeah, I can hear you.
This is Tim Lawler.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
go ahead, Tim.
So your question to me, as far as the well, I'm confused there because the well that's in question is actually on my property. So I don't know why there would be a question about the well. And our hopes here is to try to, like Gary said, to try to get this approved. And then once we meet with Dresbach on the 1st, that we get that letter from Dresbach that approves it into the file, so we can continue on sooner than waiting another month for the start our project.
Okay, is there any other questions or comments on the motion that's on the floor?
I'll just say I'm not going to support the motion. If the petitioner is paying the fee and wants us to move forward and has a timeline, I think we have the information we need.
Okay, at this point, we have a motion on the floor wanting to table docket 820-20-01, and it's been, the motion's been made and seconded, and at this time, we will vote on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
I believe the motion to table has passed. Okay, let's move on to docket number 2. Consider the
I
petition-
didn't hear that. Did the motion was approved or what?
The motion was approved to table docket number 1.
Gotcha. Okay.
We move on to docket number 2, 6-18-20-02, to consider the petition of Anley Shetler and Rudy Gingrich for a conditional use permits in regards to the following. Basically, allow a private school to be located in an agriculture resource condition. Who is, Eric, have you got this one?
Yes, I do. Can you hear me okay, Chair?
Yeah, I can hear you 2 ways.
Okay.
Eric, your
Item
first
number-
slide is in front of them.
Pardon?
Your first slide is in front of them. Just let me know when you need it changed.
Okay, thank you. According to the applicants, they have expressed a need to put a private school in St. Charles Township, and this request is applicable to the zoning ordinance of 10.4631, which allows public and private schools by a conditional use permit application. The first slide of the PowerPoint highlights that. Slide number 2 is an aerial imagery of the property in question. The co-applicant, as you will note in the staff report materials, is Andy Shetler, who is the current property owner. And Mr. Shetler also homesteads the property. The aerial doesn't show the improvements that Mr. Shetler made. I mean, if you look in the wooden corridor, what doesn't show up on that aerial is a new driveway emitting from the address that you see of 14854. And then it bends back to the east and then follows that field line to an area where he has constructed a new house and believe in a large outbuilding. The school would be located to the west, as indicated by the star along Sandstone Road. Next slide. This is a view of looking west along Sandstone Drive, and the school would be located on the north side, closer to the road and to the western property line. The applicants have indicated that because of a need, they have 18 to 25 students that could utilize a new school location. Next slide. Township acknowledgement form was received. St. Charles Township did meet with the representatives and the applicants regarding this. We have received an acknowledgement form indicating that they have no comments regarding their request. Next slide. Proposed school would be 36 by 24 with a small 10 by 20 storage shed located behind or to the north of the school. The storage shed would be with the intentions of also setting a holding tank for an outhouse or a privy for bathroom use, and also the storage shed would be used to house materials necessary with maintaining the property. The access would be obtained from Sandstone Drive. And with that, I guess I would take any questions that I can answer.
Is there anyone on the planning commission that has a question for Eric? Okay, at this point, I've been informed, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, that probably the petitioners will not be joining us to state their case because they probably don't have access to phone service. So do you see anybody that might represent the petitioners?
I do see one phone number I don't recognize.
You know,
And
Kay,
I'm-
that might be me, Kelly. My sound just wasn't working on my computer. I could barely hear what people were saying, so I'm dialed in
Gotcha.
too.
Okay, gotcha. Because otherwise, I think it's mostly staff. So yes, Mr. Chair, I believe that is correct.
Okay, well then at this time, I believe we should go directly. We need a motion for a public hearing.
Well, I'm sorry, Commissioner Chair. I had a question for staff, but my mic was on mute.
Well, go ahead.
This is Lynn Carlson. And Eric, I don't know if this would be you or Stephanie, but when I'm looking at the approval criteria and staff analysis, especially under number 6, says the use is in conformance with the comprehensive plan of the county. And then there's like a subsection after staff analysis that oh, wait a minute. I think I read that wrong. In terms of agricultural use, the following goal is listed, sustainable policies. Okay, sorry. Under 1, the sustainable policies, at first when I read it, I got the impression that it was not in conformance, but it is in conformance, so never mind. Carry
Okay.
on.
All right. Someone make a motion to open a public hearing. Who said that?
Mike Flynn will make that motion.
Mike Flynn made a motion to open the public hearing for docket number 2. For a second.
I'll second the motion. Steve Jacob.
All right, Steve Jacob has seconded the motion. All those in favor of opening the public hearing for docket 6 or 8-18-20-02 say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. The public hearing is now open. Anyone wishing to speak to docket number 2, please state your name and address and say what you have to say. I don't believe we have anybody in the audience or whatever we want to call this available. So I get some scratches. Is that somebody wanting to speak? Okay, for the second time, anyone wishing to speak to docket number 2, state your name and address into whatever means you have available and say what you have to say. For the third and final time, anyone wishing to speak to docket 18-20-02, get your mic or whatever means you have on and state your name and address and speak your piece. Okay, does someone wish to make a motion to close the public hearing?
Mark Clark, yes, I will.
Mike Flynn wishes to close the public hearing.
All right, Mark Clark has made the motion to close the public hearing for docket number 2, and Michael Flynn has seconded the motion. Is there any
I'll
discussion?
second that.
All those in favor of closing the public hearing for docket 818-20-02, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Public hearing is now closed. Members of the commission, go ahead and ask any questions or comments you may have on this petition. Now, that was just squeaks on my. What page are the findings of facts on that we got here?
Stephanie's got control of the screen right now. I'm sorry I can't provide that in the packet. I can check.
Yeah, I'm not sure what number they are in your packet. I'm showing you the Word documents so that if we make any revisions, I can do it right in front of you. So I'm not
It
actually
looks like they
using them from
start
the
on page
packet.
49.
Okay.
The official ones start on 55.
That's what I've got is 55.
Okay, well, it wasn't on 49, so. All
Yeah,
right,
so flip
all right.
to 55. Page 55, please.
All right, let's start with the findings of fact. Does anyone have anything on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? It says the use is not, which is in red. So anyone have any discussion on that? 6?
This is Mark Clark, and I disagree with 6. I think it is in conformance with the comp plan.
All right.
Maybe not that section of the comp plan, but the comp plan is very clear that we need educated people in the county. And that's kind of where I'm coming up with that.
Mark, can you repeat that, please? Something about people in county?
Number 6, it's highlighted is not in conformance with the comp plan, and I disagree with it. I think it is in conformance with the comp plan. Because we need educated people and we need schools in the county. That's where I'm coming from by saying that.
Okay.
I agree. That's what I was confused about earlier. I thought a school is definitely in conformance with the natural resource protection.
All right. Now, council, do we need to have a vote on this, or?
If you want to change it, I would suggest that there be a vote as far as what you want included within it, and I can make that change.
So Mark, do you want to make that a motion to say the use is in conformance?
Yes, I will. And under the, that we need to educate the children and the young people in the county, and they need a place to go to school. And that is in the comp plan.
Okay, is there a second?
I will
Jim
second.
Carlson.
Steve Jacobs has seconded. All right. Is there any discussion on the motion to change the use is in conformance?
If Stephanie wants more information, the purpose of protecting, promoting, maintaining the land for agriculture, that's where the education definitely becomes essential.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, this is Kate Wally. Council is digesting and putting that language in there for the planning commission members to take a look at based on Lynn and Mark's additions. So maybe just hang on 1 second and then she can maybe read it back to you if that's all right.
Yes.
Yeah, I see it coming up. It's being printed on my screen, so.
All right, so what I've got for those of you that are by phone would be to remove the phrase making the request not in conformance with this goal as it removes some agricultural land from production and replacing it with, however, the comprehensive plan also encourages an educated population which makes the request in conformance with the comprehensive plan.
Everybody here and understand that? Okay, let's vote on the motion. All those in favor of the motion to change number 6 to say that the use is in conformance, and then the stuff that's on my screen that's still there and underlined in red. All those in favor of this motion say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion is passed unanimously. All right, number 7. Number 8. Okay, then let's go to the conditions. I think they're probably pretty much self-explanatory unless somebody wants to add additional ones or delete them that are there. Anyone have any comments, questions? Hearing nothing, does someone want to make a motion including the conditions and findings of fact for petition number 2?
Mark Clark, yes, I will make a motion to accept, to pass it and accept all the conditions and
The amended condition.
amended, not conditions, that was
Findings?
findings of fact.
I'm sorry.
Amended findings of fact and the conditions. Thank you.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, Lynn seconds it. Are there any discussion on the motion to recommend a conditional use permit for docket number 2 with the findings, amended findings of facts and the conditions as stated? Hearing no
Mr.
discussion,
Chair?
all those in favor of
Mr. Chair?
recommending the conditional use permit, say aye.
Eugene?
Yeah,
Sorry to interrupt. Kate Qualley. Patrick Byron raised his hand when you asked for discussion. I just wanted to make sure before the final vote that
oh,
you
okay.
were aware of it.
Patrick, go ahead. I can't see that part. Patrick, go ahead.
Patrick, I think you're muted.
Okay, see if I can help with that. No, he's not muted.
No, he's not muted. I'm not on this thing.
I'll read his lips and do sign language.
Yeah.
He might have to do thumbs up if he's in favor of the motion. Because I don't see that he's muted. Sorry, Mr. Chair.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion to recommend a conditional use permit for docket number 2, say aye.
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 All right, did Patrick get his thumb up for it? All right, those opposed say nay. Planning Commission passed the motion to recommend the conditional use permit for docket number 2. Now, I leave it up to Planning Commission staff to notify the petitioners because I don't know how else we're gonna do this, but that's what we got so far. All right, let's get back to the agenda. Is there
At some,
a Board of Adjustment update?
Is Rachel still on?
Is there a Board of Adjustment update?
I think Rachel is here. Rachel, can you give the Board of Adjustment update? Otherwise, Eric, would you like to do it?
You can go ahead.
Okay. There were 2 petitions at the Board of Adjustment. And one of them, the Heim petition, was approved for a variance. The Burness petition was declined because it did not meet all criteria. There were a couple that were unmet.
That conclude the report?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, then we need a county board update from Commissioner Jacobs.
County Board approved the Brett and Laura Flathers CUP to build on less than 40 acres and also approved the amateur radio towers. And is the James and Sherry Heim CUP, are they still working on at the Board of Adjustment level, or didn't we have that on our, wasn't that on our docket last time around, Planning Commission?
yes.
Commissioner Jacob, it's a different family, and I also was confused about that, and Eric Johnson set me straight and said, nope, look closely, different names, different first names.
Okay. Well, then everything that we did at the Planning Commission level has been approved at the County Board level.
Well, Blathers has got a big enough hole for a basement for a motel, so he's going right along. All right, is there any comments from Planning Commission staff about our September meeting, or none at this time? Or if you have something you want to say it now, or we're going to have a motion to adjourn. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Mark Clark.
Sure.
Okay, is there a second?
Was that Vince? Did you say something, Vince?
No, that was
I said I
Mark Clark.
move we adjourn.
Mark Clark moved to adjourn.
I'll second, Lynn Carlson.
Lynn Carlson seconds the motion. All those in favor of adjourning the August 20th, 2020 Planning Commission meeting, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. The Planning Commission is adjourned. Thank you all. And I
Thank you.
get an actual meeting here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dean.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Everybody.